So what differentiates you from a management consultant in the mid-market who is promoting himself or herself as sales slash marketing strategy leadership and business growth consultant, and there are many of those kinds. So what differentiates you from them?
That's a great question. Out in the industry today, what you'll find is there are a considerable number of companies that just do sales training, or numbers of companies, actually about 1,700 of them, that just offer selection assessments or tools to assess a candidate, such as a pre-selection type test, or for that matter, assess individual employees. There are thousands of those organizations out there. There are also numbers of management consultants out in the marketplace that help look at the alignment or the structure of your sales organization, and then look at sales strategy on how you can go to market. But there is none that we know of actually that are looking at how do you take the importance of attracting and selecting the right sales force and align it specifically with what your customers want and expect, as well as where your business needs to go. And the reason for that, frankly, is a lot of companies simply don't have the capability of looking at the organization from a full sales perspective. They're really looking at, we just want to sell products, or we just want to sell assessments, or we just want to sell training.
So in a sense, you would say that you are helping companies, clients, firms become more sales-driven organizations where everything else, their marketing, their strategy, is aligned with the idea of growing sales. Now, I understand that every company will say that's the case, but the fundamental driving force in many companies is not sales. It happens to be whatever the CEO or the leadership team is driving at. Sometimes it's product driven, sometimes it's customers driven, but it's really rare from my experience to find companies that are truly sales driven. Everything else aligns itself behind the sales growth engine. So that's what you're doing. And that's why you're differentiated.
We're doing it for companies that have 2,000 salespeople to companies that have 3. We'll have a smaller company contact us because they just want to use our selection assessment tools to assess candidates in the interview process, to identify if they have the right person with the right skills, right motivation, right fit. And we'll have larger companies, which are our primary target of our business, will come to us and say, we need a process or a benchmark methodology that targets in on what a top performer is in sales for our business, and then help us with the interview model and the process of attracting the right candidates in, so they're actually hiring the right sales team that fits their business and fits their culture and fits their customer. So we have a large gamut.
Would you say that there are 2 or 3 pillars on which your entire strategy is based? One is assessment, based on whatever methodologies that you have figured out that work. Second is the strategy piece, the sales strategy, not the market or the business strategy, but the sales strategy piece. And third is the employee culture-based strategy. Is that fair to say?
I would say that you have the first 2 correct. When you start looking at what our assessment model is and what we can utilize as far as tools to actually help companies look at the people they have or they're hiring, that's a very big component of our business. One of the most critical, and the reason we grew so much last year in 2010, is companies today are struggling to identify what top performance is in sales in their company. In other words, what types of skills do the kind of people that we need to hire, how much skill should they have, what kind of fit should they have, kind of background experience, an overall picture of top performance in the job, so that they can hire and select the right people, or for that matter, assess their existing team and identify what the strengths are or the limitations that team brings, so they can train them, develop them, and improve their performance. The big issue, we saw it last year as well as it started in 2009, is companies were starting to, I wouldn't say downsize, but they were starting to look at the economic impact. They started looking at, we're not going to lose the existing team we have, but we need to improve their performance. And we found that a considerable amount of our revenue last year was based on sales leadership coming in saying, I have 45 salespeople, I believe 10 or 15 of them maybe are not the right fit, I'm not really sure, can you assess our team and identify their characteristics? And can you also help us identify what a top performance benchmark would be, so we can compare them to that, as well as train them and develop that existing team to keep them? And so a lot of it's around performance improvement. A lot of it's around retention.
So fundamentally, you're taking it to the precision level.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I think this to me clarifies a lot about where do you stand, and I think that'll be of help to the audience as well.